Whoa! What's up, guys? Rich Trooper Bash back in the shop. Just want to go over a brand new build I just completed. Those of you that have watched my channel know I'm a huge fan of the Truggified Typhon. This sucker right here is definitely taking it to another level. My goal with this rig was just building something a little bit longer, but still having the agility, the quickness, and the buggy-like reflexes of the Typhon. Not sure what I'm going to call this one. I was thinking about possibly the MOTALIPHON because she's a combination of Mojave, Italian, Creighton, and Typhon parts. Fortunately, the ARRMAs are super interchangeable with their bits. Most of you guys in the hobby know bashing is definitely super fun. It's kind of addicting. But at the end of the day, tuning and building is probably my favorite part of the hobby. I was really just shooting for a bigger scale buggy, and ironically it turns out this thing's just a little bit bigger than the Asuga. Pretty much exact same wheelbase, just a little bit wider, kind of wheel to wheel. As far as overall weight, I think she came out at like 9 pounds 14 ounces, so very similar in the total weight as well. Quick side-by-side comparison with my original Truggified Typhon. You'll definitely notice the difference in length and overall stance. At the core of this beast is a 7075 M2C Racing Italian chassis. As you guys probably know, they have the center diff and motor distribution about an inch rearward from the Creighton. Just makes for a super balanced platform. Of course, I'm running Creighton center drive shafts. With Italian, they just get reversed. Front goes to rear, rear goes to front. Also running Italian M2C towers, both front and rear. M2C chassis braces, of course. You'll see I went with the Creighton EXB front bumper, beautiful M2C Racing 7075 T6 Italian chassis, RPM rear skid plate. Like I've said many times before, guys, the M2C chassis really is the foundation to a super strong rig. For electronics, I kind of debated between two different setups. I really wanted to try out this kind of budget Hobbywing QuicRun. This is a 2000 kV. I think it's the V2. It's non-censored. Of course, it's 150 amp ESC. I might end up going with the Max 6. I was really curious about trying this King Val 4082 1720 kV. I'm running the same size motor from Rocket in my Italian Basher Queen Desert Racer, and this thing absolutely screams. I just figured for 125 bucks, this setup was definitely worth trying out. I think I dropped in a 21 tooth Robinson Racing extra hard pinion. For servo, I'm running this coreless 46 gig. I think this was like 42 bucks on Amazon. This is a Bedu. I've been running it for quite a while. So far, this has hung tough. Again, the Bedu is waterproof and it's rated from 6 to 8.4 volts. Doesn't have the strongest centering, but overall the sucker's done really well. As far as the diffs go, running 500,000 in the center, 50K up front, and 20K in the rear. Still running the wider Creighton hubs and stub axles. I do have the M2C plus 5mm hexes on here. Running the wider Mojave arms, drive shafts, and links. I was having some steering lockup when I was doing this build, and I realized that you really got to kind of raise up your droop in the front arms. Otherwise, it just kind of locks out at the pillow ball in the hub. Planning to run TLR Typhon shocks front and rear. Just wait for them to show up in the mail. This is a set of the rears that I borrowed from another rig. You'll see the geometry. Definitely have a crazy amount of droop back here. Just barely gets chassis slapped with these shocks front and rear. Planning to tune my TLR shocks when they show up. Of course, I will be running the bladderless M2C ZRS butter smooth setup. Still running the beautiful Basher Queen carbon fiber top brace as well as the top plate. Got Hot Racing bulkheads both front and rear. Older voltage hobby suspension mounts in the rear. You'll notice for my rear braces I had to use these little hex extenders. These guys are 55mm. Got these for cheap off of Amazon. I think they came in a 5-pack. I did have to use some of these axial extensions here. These are just the M3 by 16mm. There's about 10mm of space in the actual body mount. I just went ahead and I used some orange thread locker and drove these in. I'm probably going to go with a little shorter post. Again, these are 55s. This one's a 45. I think I just want to move my body a little bit more rearward. As it sits now, this thing fits like a glove. I'm probably just going to Velcro the front and the sides to the mud guards. You'll see when I press down, fortunately the body where it dips down here rests right on the center chassis brace. Again, my whole plan with this sucker, guys, was keep it light, quick, and super agile. For wheels, I'm going to start her out with my belted Proline MX28 HPs. I've had these wheels for about 2 to 3 years now, and they've done awesome. Again, she's shy of 10 pounds, which is awesome for this size. Definitely way lighter than a Creighton or Outcast. Like I said, I could put a bigger system in here, no problem. I'm just going to start her out with the Hobbywing QuicRun and see how things go. Like always, guys, this build was an absolute pleasure. Definitely took my time. Made sure my bearings were all good, my diffs were good. Lastly, I just want to give another huge shout out to Avery and Mitch Looper with M2C Racing. There's just no question these rigs could handle the punishment they do without their upgrades. All right, guys, it's the next morning, and I realized late last night the Italian towers unfortunately just weren't going to work with this setup. essentially paired with the Typhon shocks and Mojave arms. Just couldn't get the proper chassis slap. With these Italian towers, unfortunately the standoffs, they just sit too low and too wide for this setup. The other reason I had to swap these towers, guys, just to make sure, is because I'm going to probably swap out these wheels at some point. Put the Mojave 6S ones on here. They do sit a little bit taller. I've had these Typhon M2C towers, I think, for about 5 years. They're still hanging tough, still perfectly straight. You guys might recall when Mitch designed the Typhon tower, because it's a buggy and it's exposed, he went ahead and raised the top just to protect the shocks and the standoffs. Decided to rebuild all 4 shocks. Again, this is a ZRS setup. I use the 1.25 pistons in all 4 corners. You'll notice I've got my LiPo in the rig, guys. You always want to dial in your suspension with it fully loaded. Gonna start out with 900 CST. This is from Bones Motorsports. Shout out to Mitch Looper. He sent me a box of these oils several years ago just for all the testing we do. I ran out of adjustability with the front spring, so I went ahead and swapped on some front Outcast Creighton ones. Basically shooting for arms level. Definitely have a little more rebound now. You'll see how absolutely plush he is in the rear. So just to recap, guys, this is the Italian chassis and braces paired with Typhon towers and shocks and body, also Typhon mud skirts. You'll see from the top, I went ahead and adjusted this for slight toe out up front, negative camber in the rear. Super stoked about this build, guys. It's taken some time to get the geometry right, but I think she's gonna be an absolute screamer. All right, guys, just added a little bit of industrial strength Velcro to the mud skirt. A little bit on the body. This is how she's going to sit with the 45mm posts. I'm digging her so far. You'll see the body looks just a little bit more centered like this. She's looking built for speed, no question. At least now I know I've got plenty of suspension action. Well, she whips pretty good, guys. Again, it's a 21 tooth Robinson Racing. What a screamer, guys. I think it's nuts. Oh, I gotta go a little easier on the throttle. Well, she's super stable, guys. Very impressed so far. Bummer, it's so windy out. Yeah, suspension's feeling nice and dialed. Yeah, she covers ground quick, guys. Butter, baby. this thing just handles so awesome, guys. Alright guys, I think that's going to be it. Super stoked with the handling of this new build. Probably the best handling rig I've ever put together, guys. Just feels perfectly balanced with Italian chassis, with the electronics more towards the center. Again, overall, I will say the Mojave 6S wheels are definitely the better handling compared to the Belted Pro lines. Liking the overall stance with these on here as well. Anyway guys, absolutely stoked with this sucker. Really happy with the QuicRun 150 amp 2000 kV. This thing's got plenty of rip. So far temps have been great. The highest I've had the motor is about 150. I think the ESC about 125, 130. Huge shout out to Mitch and Avery Looper with M2C Racing. Their parts are definitely the foundation of this rig. All right guys, until next time.